It does breed a culture of impunity, and it does lead to the creation to a group of people that you would refer to as the untouchable. And that reinforces what we've been talking about every other day, the patronage system.
She adds that with these tendencies, it justifies the slow development, hence a hustle to realize the Vision 2040.
At times we tend to look at some of these things as, we just gloss over them, but people tend to lose trust of government institutions because they feel that such institutions have engaged in corruption. And even in situations whereby probably they may be justified, because at times the police can let someone go, they can give them police bond. But because it is a mindset, people have tended to look at particular government institutions as being corrupt. Even when they're following the law, people will not trust them.
She, however, calls on Ugandans to exercise their rights to speak out on these legalities and to hold their leaders accountable.
It has to go back to our homes. How do we actually engage with these particular people that have been implicated? Because these are our brothers, these are our sisters, these are our fathers. So other than other people coming out and castigating, it has to start from the family and how these people are treated and how we engage. But overall, as people, we need to come up and say enough is enough. We need to stand up and say no. We need to hold our leaders accountable.
But the spokesperson of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, Jane Kajuga, explains that the acquittals happened due to several reasons. Citing the case of the Permanent Secretary from the Health Ministry, Dr. Asuman Lukwago, she says there were tactical reasons, as the latter ran to the Constitutional Court for redress. This gave them no choice but to withdraw from the case as they await for the court's pronouncement.
What we do actually is to withdraw cases. A withdrawal of a case does not mean we have lost interest in that case. I will give you an example of the case of Dr. Asuman Lukwago. I think 2 weeks ago, about there, we withdrew the charge against Asuman Lukwago and 3 of his colleagues who were supposed to be facing charges under the Anti-Corruption Act at the Anti-Corruption Court. The withdrawal was done for a tactical reason.
The actions of the DPP, for example, in the case of Lukwago, do not help to build confidence in both his independence, but also the independence of his office in prosecuting people who are highly connected or highly placed in society. The arbitrary unexplained withdrawal of cases, or in some cases presenting witnesses on the stand that appear to give evidence in support of the accused person, such as the ones we've seen.
And with all these, what would be the implications of the acquittals vis-a-vis public funds and time?
Economic sense, and it spoils, it causes challenges to the case. Apart from bringing challenges in the prosecution of the case, it means double expenses in terms of bringing witnesses and all that. Of course, we don't always withdraw when the parties reconcile or when they say they're not interested. We look at the nature of the offense, we look at how bad that offense was in terms of its commitment, in terms of its impact on the victims.
Kajuga, however, emphasizes that the institution is doing its best to serve Ugandans, especially in regards to fighting corruption, with 70% conviction rate in the Anti-Corruption Court.
I'm very confident that a lot is being done in the fight against corruption. We have had specialized training for officers who deal in corruption. We have a specialized unit at the Anti-Corruption Court that is facilitated, has police officers attached to it, that has been spearheading the handling of cases for corruption.
There is always the issue of delayed justice that is continuously impacting on Ugandans, as many of them have lost trust in the country's judicial system. Kajuga explains that this is so, especially due to the limited judges.
The delaying aspect of it is a problem. As you may appreciate, the earlier a case is handled, when it is still fresh, when the parties are still interested, the better for us. You will find, for example, that by the time a person has reported a case of defilement, she's aged 16. By the time the matter comes to trial, she's 19 and maybe even married.
On the issue of fighting corruption, she asks Ugandans to take on their civic role of reporting the perpetrators and learning to demand for what is rightfully theirs.
Fight against corruption is all-encompassing. It involves you and me. It involves the ordinary person that walks on the street. Does he offer a bribe to retain a service? Does he accept himself bribes to retain a service? Where is the culture coming from? What is being done to change the culture of demand for services legitimately, without the need to bribe, without the need to be corrupt?
According to the Executive Director, Chapter 4, Nicholas Opio, investigations and prosecutions of corruption cases should be sophisticated to avoid any gaps.
The prosecutions and investigations of these cases will have to be more sophisticated than it is now, because some of the means of stealing public money or public resources is so covert, it is so scientific, so much so that it overwhelms or supersedes the ability of the police officers investigating these cases to even understand the trail of transaction, the trail of theft.
The cost of corruption is so huge that it will take a great deal of everybody's civic duty to fight it and its effects. Jocelyn Nachibule, WBS in Kampala.